Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reality Game Form Survivor podcast. I am your host, Colin Connors. With me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Patrick Sullivan.
Hi there.
Also joining us tonight is the majestic Stephen Lehman.
Oh, I'm majestic tonight. I appreciate that. Thank you, Colin.
And we also have the wonderful, spicy Latina flavor, Alicia Garza.
Hey, y'all. Ew.
That's really attractive.
Thanks, Patrick. All right, we're already getting started off on a
timed
great
that perfectly on purpose.
Don't you be.
I like to picture you sitting there going, wait for the hey, y'all, wait for the hey, y'all. And then you belted it out. So, but we have a lot to talk about and not a lot of time. It was actually one of the few really good episodes of this season so far. And I just want to jump right into it. And we start off with Orange Tribe. They come back from Tribal Council. And Dale is basically going, shit, I should have played the social game.
A little bit too late for that, huh, Dale?
Yes. So I do want to ask, even though we know there's a switch coming up, is Dale going to be like permanently an outsider? Is he going to be kind of in a sticky situation for the rest of his, what I think could be a potentially short game? Patrick, why don't you lead us off?
No, I don't think so. I think he knows his position on his tribe. The other tribe seems like an absolute mess after this tribal council. That people are going to be wanting votes. I think he's not going to be a threat because he's an older dude. You know, they're going to take out Jeremy before him. You think? You know, he could bob it.
I like that. I do think with the way the dynamics are this season, we're going to see a lot of people slip underneath the cracks. Because I think the next couple votes are going to be they're big and strong from the other tribe, let's get them out. And then we have the traditional merge boots. Steven, what's your thought on Dale and how do you think this game might play out?
I think Dale could be in an okay position on a swap. It just depends on who he's with. I think, Patrick said earlier, he's not a physical threat who you wouldn't mind bringing to the merge. It just is a matter of, I guess, whether or not they want to have more numbers at the merge, and I think it depends how the tribes shake out.
It depends on the intelligence of the whatever, not the Orange tribe, but because they don't seem that bright about anything. But if they realize, hey, there's this dude, he knows who's on the bottom, then we can use him for some votes.
But does anyone in this game right now seem bright, in all fairness, Patrick? Because I'm not getting I
saw a flash of brightness from Natalie for a second there. And, that's about it. I mean, they fumbled so many times, especially that purple. Is it purple?
Blue,
whatever. That side of the color spectrum. Them finding their flint and trying to barter for something better. Like, they're just a bunch of morons.
So, Alicia, Patrick brings up the flint, which was our next topic of conversation.
Oh, God.
Drew being like, hey, guys, it's a good idea, and his tribe being like, no, it's not. Stop. You're really stupid. I want you to look back on your vast Survivor knowledge. Has anything like this happened before, and has any contestant been as unself-aware as Drew has been?
This is the perfect question for me since I haven't seen all the seasons of Survivor.
Well, I was also going to have
names.
I was going to have Steven do a follow-up.
Well, if it's
I
not
don't think
self-aware.
he's the only person that's ever been, or I guess the most unself-aware. I think Philip was very unself-aware.
Crystal Cox.
I think a lot of people are unself-aware. You have a few people every season that are very overbearing and don't really realize that they're overbearing until they get voted out. There was that one Latina girl that got voted out first in that one season because she was bossy and didn't think she was being bossy. She thought she was being helpful.
Yeah, that one girl in that one season.
That one Latina with the red suit.
Oh yeah. What's her face? She was on Taj's season, right?
Carolina.
Yeah.
See?
Okay, well, that was a little unspecific right there. It's like that one first boot girl.
Okay.
Yeah, let me
So, okay, Alicia, I'll throw you some easy questions later. Steven, let's talk about parallels we can draw between Drew and other Survivor contestants.
If we're talking about being completely unaware of their surroundings, Russell is probably up there.
I'm going to disagree with that, but I'll let you finish.
I mean, if we're just talking about being unaware, and I'd argue Stephanie in her second appearance. But those are the only ones I can really think of off the top of my head that are up at that caliber.
Well, see, I would actually put Drew way more up with Philip, because I feel like where Russell and Stephanie were kind of they were unself-aware with kind of, I think they were unself-aware in how people perceived them, but not how the game was played.
How about
Okay,
I think his level
Whereas
of
Drew was
game,
bad all the way.
his level of game is on par with just about every male on One World.
That seems like a
You
good
take the
comparison.
young buff dudes and whatever the cock,
Matt.
Matt, yeah,
The Roosters.
yeah, the cock, and kind of reminds me of that.
I like that comparison that Drew would have fit in perfectly in One World. So let's jump to the Redemption Island arena, and Drew's like, "Hey, there's Flint," and Jeff's just laughing at him like, "Oh my God, someone's doing this. He's really dumb." And then John and Jacqueline have their little challenge. John wins, and Drew and Jacqueline wind up on Exile Island, and it turns out Drew's a ladies' man. So Alicia, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hot are you for Drew?
Oh, wow. I only get to choose up to 10 or down to 1. Probably like in the negative at this point.
Alicia, how about if we duct tape his mouth shut?
Like a 2? A 1? I don't know.
That scores him some points.
Yeah.
But I like the way that Prost was just mocking them. He thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
With their deal or whatever.
It's just fascinating to me to see like us to go from Kagion, where every Survivor player was at least somewhat Survivor literate and kind of knew the game. I mean, they failed in a lot of points, but they were all trying. And then to switch to this season where we have like Drew being completely awful and Val being completely like awful and John Rocker being awful.
And what's his name tonight? The other fireman.
And then Keith also, which we were going to see later. It's just crazy to see the difference of spectrum in gameplay. But let's talk a little bit about John and Jacqueline and their relationship. And do you guys think that John and Jacqueline could potentially last a long time, or do you think John's going to vote her out? Like, who's going to last longer, and what's going to happen with them, Patrick?
Jacqueline's going to last longer just because John. I don't think he's going to be in the best position, being a young fit guy, which is always a target. And he also kind of alienated himself with this tribe, and we saw in the preview it didn't look very good for him. Where she can stay more under the radar.
Steve, what's your take on it?
I mean, I'm obligated to say John because he's my winner pick, first of all. But
Stop it.
I don't know. I think it just depends, like I said, on how the tribes shake out. Because if John is on a tribe that isn't necessarily all that athletic, then they will need him to get to the merge unless they, decide to throw and get rid of him.
That's old school Survivor, though.
Yeah.
These new seasons, they don't care about winning challenges. They just want to vote off the threats right away, it seems.
That's true. And then Jacqueline, I don't know. We don't see enough from her to gauge, but I could see her, going somewhat far. I mean, in the previous episode when Rocker was voted out, the guys targeted Baylor over her, and she was already on the outs, it seemed. So she must have done something right.
I like that. Alicia, what are your thoughts?
On
John and Jacqueline and their relationship, and who's going to last longer?
I don't know. We haven't really gotten insight into like their actual relationship, except for when they like hugged each other and said "I love you." At the Redemption Island arena.
At least there were no tears.
Dome.
I don't remember.
I don't think there were that many tears.
Yeah, I don't think there were any. Also,
yeah.
I don't know. I thought it. I don't know. I think John is probably gonna go because he seems like a worse judge of character than Jacqueline. Because John was like, "Oh yeah, Drew's my BFF." Like, why?
Didn't he say that out loud or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told Jacqueline like Drew's a really good guy, and people had referred to like Drew and John as like always hanging out together. And I think John in a confessional talked about Drew being like his best friend out there. So it really like has me questioning his judgment and like who he thinks he should be aligning with. And I think Jacqueline has her head on better.
His judgment and just giving away too much info about who he's close.
I mean, I don't think either of them is going to make it.
Well, and I think with the way it's set up next, it looks like next episode that with a crazy ass tribal council like they had, it's not too hard to kind of integrate back in the group. There's no reason if you voted in the minority, especially that tribal council, to be like, oh, I'm screwed and alienate yourself, which is what it seems like he's doing.
Yeah, maybe he's just got a temper.
And we just haven't had a chance to see it yet because we wanted to look at him, pretending to be a monkey and wishing he had a tail. So Jack is finally back with us. Jack, how are you? Are you okay?
I'm good.
All right. So I am going to throw the next question at you because you have no idea what's going on.
Correct.
Okay. Keith looks for a hidden immunity idol and doesn't immediately find it. So he goes, oh, this guy in my alliance must have it. So he does the logical thing of telling everybody in camp. Explain, Jack, to anyone who would have any minute amount of doubt why that's not just a horrible, horrible move and why Keith is like an idiot. Or maybe you disagree with me and you thought it was a smart move. But if you did, I'm probably going to kick you off. So go ahead.
Well, first off, no, I don't think it was a smart move in several different reasons. But just the fact that if you search for an idol for 10 to 15 minutes and don't find it, it's not because, someone else might have it. It's just like you haven't found it yet. So, one, he just probably didn't take the time or wasn't patient enough to try to look for it. And instead of I'll search for it tomorrow morning before everyone's awake, he immediately throws one of his best friends on that tribe under the bus to everyone else. So he just didn't have the mindset of, hey, maybe I just haven't found it yet, and immediately just screwed over an ally that he potentially had.
He seemed a little oblivious to it anyways. I kind of believed him when he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was a bad thing to do. I don't think he's really that much of a Survivor fan, maybe.
Yes, yeah. Definitely. I get that vibe from him also.
When he was searching, he just had a walking stick and was scraping it on dirt. Just flat dirt in the ground and hoping something would pop up. It didn't seem like he was...
He probably watched a WrestleMania season and knew that they were just everywhere and they were so easy to find.
Right. Well, if I haven't found it in 5 minutes, then it's probably gone.
Yeah, it's just probably gone. And I feel like Jeremy, even though it kind of stinks he lost an ally, I mean, what else could you have done if you're Jeremy in that situation? Anybody?
You could have, I don't know. Would it be too sketchy to empty out your bag and just be like, look, you're filling me up, I'm not hiding it or anything. He's lying, I don't know. Because you could always hide it somewhere else and someone would just think you're sketchy, but
yeah, I was thinking that probably wouldn't work because most people you see him bury it again off in the woods.
I was watching one of the secrets.
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Wait.
I was just watching one of the secret scenes and hope this doesn't infringe on Alex's.
Well, Alex isn't here tonight, so
okay, well then.
On you. If you do all of it, don't fuck it up.
It was a link on Reddit talking about Reed, because apparently Reed has some strategic confessionals, but we're not seeing them. And he talked about how when Keith was throwing Jeremy under the bus, he was like, I need to immediately go tell Jeremy, because the first person that tells him is going to have the most weight in their words, and he's going to think the most highly of. And apparently they had an open forum, or they all sat down or something and talked about Keith claiming Jeremy had the idol. So apparently when Jeremy brought it up at Tribal Council, that wasn't the first time that it was brought up among the group.
Okay.
So it feels like there was a lot of paranoia, as we saw, and a very discombobulated group of castaways.
Well, and I did want to actually bring up Reed, because Reed's someone who we haven't really seen anything of. And does that mean he's doomed to second juror or something like that?
Reed has had 2 confessionals. I've got him on my fantasy thing, and confessionals give you points. Mm-hmm. I've gotten 2 points from him.
So what does that mean?
That means that I don't think he's going to make a big impact on the season, but we've seen in the past people we go back to the first Blood versus Water, we saw Katie and Sierra both be pretty invisible throughout the pre-merge, and then Sierra especially made a big impact post-merge.
I don't know what you're talking about. All of those scabs on Katie's toes were pretty visible.
That's what she got. She got scabby toes and pre-merge, and then Post, she got the White Rock, and then Sierra flipped her vote, and there was all that drama in there. So maybe there's more to come. And
but is it safe to say that Reed's not winning though, or do you think they're trying this season to really, really, really mask the winner?
I just don't. Maybe he's just not that interesting, or gives good confessionals. But Jack said he's got some more insightful things, but maybe it just doesn't go well in an edited TV package.
I think one thing that may be hindering back him and some other people on that Hunapu, the Blue Tribe, is because they kept winning. And
it's true.
Their only confessionals that we saw from that tribe were Jeremy, because we were introduced to him early on in the season from that very first reward duel, and then someone like Drew, who we saw him on our TV because he was a doofus. So all of our time was spent on Josh narrating because the Orange Tribe kept going to Tribal Council over and over again, and it didn't really make sense for us to have really in-depth stuff from the Hunapu Tribe because they didn't go to Tribal Council until episode 4 or something.
Well, I mean, I think that's fair. Stephen, what's your take on it?
No, I think Jack sort of hit the nail on the head. I mean, we didn't really get anything from Blue early on, unfortunately, because, they kept winning. And I guess unless it's necessary to the plot of the episode or the overarching plot of the season, then they're not going to show it. So maybe that's the trap that Reed has fallen into.
Let's just say if we have in the next couple of episodes, if Reed gets a confessional very first, then he's gone.
Dead.
He's toast.
I agree completely. Okay, so something I want to harp on before we get to the Tribal Council fun stuff, and that is, we did see a little bit of the Orange Tribe right before the Immunity Challenge, and we saw Alec and Baylor. And to me, Alec looked like a giant douche, and it was as if they were editing to be like, hey, okay, yeah, Drew's leaving, but Alex is going to take his place. Did anyone else get that vibe?
I thought they just seemed like they were in love with each other, and they were acting like they were in second grade, and, throwing dirt at each other, and, poking each other, but really they're, going to be married forever.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Okay, and in all fairness, way back in episode 1, I believe it was revealed that Alec and Baylor were actually really close. So that might be something that we should all look out for. Or maybe everyone just finds Baylor annoying. One of the two.
This is sort of off topic to Survivor, but I can attest to this. For those of you who watched Big Brother 16 this past season, Zach was always picking on Victoria. But lately, pictures have been revealed of Zach and Victoria going out all the time to hockey games and going on dates and taking pictures. So
I think they're official.
Weird.
Another thing of Alec might have a crush on Baylor, and instead of showing affection, he's just kind of being a jerk to her.
So are you saying Zanky is not going to happen outside the house?
It's Victoria.
The Big Brother podcast is something that I believe Patrick hosts. I don't know. Do we have one?
Big Brother is currently not airing.
Exactly. So let's get back to Survivor. Okay. I do want to say this. I did kind of like Drew's thinking of wanting to vote out Kelly as him being like, hey, she's the under-the-radar student of the game. However, everything else he did was wrong. His execution of it was wrong. And
so much of it was wrong about everyone on that tribe. All the men were just so stubborn.
Everyone was a complete mess.
Yeah.
They were a hot
mess.
There we go, Stephen. Stephen gets a point for the night. So, what we had happen, and you guys correct me, is it seemed like Drew forced the 4 girls to vote together by being like, you 4 girls, you're all in an alliance. And Natalie was like, no, seriously, I will vote out Julie right now. I'm not in an alliance. And then Drew was like, oh, you're in such an alliance. And then it was like, hey, we got to vote out Kelly. And Kelly was like, put away from him.
Maybe the season that they gave him to watch and sequester was Micronesia.
I feel like he probably didn't watch anything in sequester. He just probably didn't take anything to heart.
They make you watch stuff.
Oh, well then.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So
maybe he's just a dumbass.
Maybe he just watched Micronesia and is afraid of the Deadly Women Alliance that happened once every 15 seasons.
I have to say, I do think it's impressive that Drew, of all people, was the one who got the Women's Alliance together. So kudos to him for that.
I guess they were kind of forced to, right?
Right. I mean, because Drew's constant preaching about Women's Alliance.
I know. It was something quite lovely, quite lovely. So now we go to Tribal Council, and at Tribal Council, you get a vote, Keith. You get a vote. Drew. Everybody gets votes. And the only thing I'm upset about is because we're swapping next episode, we don't get to see more of this amazing tribe. And so I basically said Drew kind of voted himself out.
Well,
Do y'all agree?
What pissed me off, though, was like, okay, they didn't give us... Usually they give us two options of, like, it's going to be this person or this person. And I think it would have been a lot more interesting seeing what happened in between Tribal Council and all the scrambling and everything. If we got to see more of that and how those votes came to be.
Yeah, like why did Jeremy voted for Drew, but someone else voted for Keith?
Yeah, I didn't understand any of that, and I thought the editing was weird.
Confusing because you have what's his face? Was it John that wanted? John wanted Julie gone, but he ended up voting for Keith, like Jeremy wanted, and then
Jeremy
you had
voted
Keith,
Drew.
Yeah,
but then you had Keith who
voted for Julie.
Who ended up Keith voted for
Keith. Yeah,
John.
Keith voted for Julie.
Keith voted for Julie.
I think Reed did too.
Yeah, Reed
and Keith were the two.
Oh yeah, so but
Drew
Keith voted for
Kelly.
Julie, who John wanted to vote for. So it's just,
I feel like I'm back in middle school.
Seems to be aligned with anyone correctly.
What happened? Were they like, okay, everyone, wrap it up, no more talking, it's time to go to Tribal? And they're all like, what the fuck?
Like, no, anymore time. Yeah, and I'm just amazed. I mean, so Jeremy voted for Drew, John voted for Keith, Julie voted for Drew, Keith voted for Julie, Kelly voted for Drew, Missy voted for Drew, Natalie voted for Drew, Reed voted for Julie, and Drew voted for Kelly. What did Drew just go, oh, everyone's going to vote for Kelly?
He probably assumed.
Yeah. It was literally that dense.
Yeah, but you know they're not allowed to talk to each other on the way to Tribal Council at all.
That's right. True. But yeah, plenty of time. You're there for like 12 goddamn days. You think that'd be enough time to grab 4 people and be like, hey, we're voting together? You think?
I just think it's a testament also to like how many probably like yes men everyone in Survivor has to be, because usually when someone comes like up with a plan and tells you it, you're not gonna be like, no dude, I'm not doing that, and in fact I'm voting against you. No, you say yes, you agree, you smooth things over and make it seem like you're with that person so they don't vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone probably did that, and then everyone else got a huge surprise awakening.
An amazing surprise awakening.
I think it was during Tribal Council, Jeff asked Missy, I believe, a question, and she said that we have too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Right.
Which is something we hear frequently in Survivor, but it really hit the nail on the head with this tribe, because it seems like all of the guys, except maybe Keith, want to be calling the shots. Like Drew was like, it's got to be Kelly, and John was saying it's got to be Julie, and then Jeremy wanted Keith out. Whereas the girls just like realized that, hey, we can just all like come to a decision together and vote out Drew. So it seems like the only people that are level-headed on this tribe are actually the girls.
And I agree with you. I agree with you completely, Jack.
That's where that one little glimpse of brilliance came when it showed Natalie saying, hey, why don't we just vote out John? He's an ass.
Yeah.
Drew.
Drew, whatever.
Drew, he's an ass. Well, yeah, there was that one moment where John and Drew were talking, and John would be like, Drew, you're being a dick, stop. Or something like that.
Right, yeah, it was to that effect, because...
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kelly's standing 3 feet away.
Oh, God.
Right, Drew is all, yeah, we're voting for Kelly, and that's that, and she's quite literally 2 or 3 feet from him, and rolling her eyes, and
well, she's just
what
sitting
I have
there picking her nails. I don't know why she didn't go up to him and be like, you're doing what, huh? You say you're voting who?
I've actually, I've got a newfound appreciation for Kelly, because the fact that, of all people, she was targeted for being this under-the-radar girl who knows all this stuff about the game, and, she's sitting right by Drew. I don't know, I appreciate her a lot more as a character now that this episode happened.
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't know to keep your target on the down low so they don't have time to scramble.
At one point, John was like, True, she's standing right there, and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, like
going home
he's
anyway.
just so arrogant. But
I'm the kingpin.
But what we didn't talk about before was Drew threw the fucking challenge.
That is,
that was just...
There we go. That's what we've been missing. I was like, we're missing something tonight.
That's happened before, right?
Yeah. Slide with China, they threw the challenge. Redemption, they threw the challenge. However,
no, I mean not throwing the challenge, but throwing the like someone threw it and then immediately got voted out.
I don't believe
I think it's happened.
Throwing.
I don't. I don't think that's happened, but throwing, no one has ever, I believe no one who has thrown a challenge, that has been on tribe that's thrown a challenge has ever won the game.
Sorry, but Africa they did.
Did they throw a challenge?
Yeah, post-swap, they threw one to get rid of Silas, and Ethan wound up winning.
Well, that's Ethan, so he's allowed to throw
That's
challenges.
true, he is, yeah.
But in China, they tried to, if they would have thrown both challenges, it would have been better, but they only threw one to vote on Aaron.
Because Denise sucks.
Yes.
But what was going through his mind about, what was he saying? I couldn't really... I couldn't lower my IQ enough.
They had to vote out the girls because the girls were going to get them because there was 4 girls and 5 guys, and they're all snakes.
I think another
snakes on the tribe.
I think another overlooked fact was that at Exile Island, Drew was really like he had it bad for Jacqueline, and part of me thinks that was part of the reason he wanted to throw, and he just wouldn't admit it. So Jacqueline would still be around, and he could keep his bros, girls safe, and I don't. Well, actually, I don't know. I can't put myself in Drew logic, but maybe that's what it was.
I think he was getting a little antsy. He seems like the kind of guy that was looking forward to voting people out, and since they kept winning and never went to tribal council, he was just like wanting to go.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get out these snakes.
That's very fair.
We hadn't seen anyone being untrustworthy up until the random Keith and Jeremy moment, but he's like, "Oh, there's so many snakes on this tribe. We got to get them out."
He didn't say any names, but what really makes me sad is a tribe that's losing so much, and then the other tribe throws it, and the other tribe that won is just so happy. They're like, "We can win."
I know. Did you see their faces?
Yeah, they were so happy. It's like,
it was so
bless
touching,
your
and
heart.
like the big hug with Baylor and someone. I don't know. It was cute.
Yeah.
Today's our day, and little do they know, unfortunately.
So, before we wrap things up, are there any soapboxes anyone would like to stand on? Is there any points that we haven't covered? Because I think we've done a pretty thorough examination of this crazy episode, and I'm hoping the rest of the season is like this because it was finally really getting good.
Yes.
I realized that I liked Natalie a little more this past episode, but I think it's because she didn't talk as much. So there's that.
All right. And Natalie, I liked her for being just like, wait, why don't we just do it? If they say we're in an alliance, let's just do it. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
may as well validate their fears.
She's done the Amazing Race twice, right? And that's a little that's way different, but it's also a reality show. So I think she showed up to play, and she doesn't want to sit around idle,
She's not afraid like a lot of these other people might be.
So I appreciate that about her.
Okay, Steven, did you have something you wanted to throw out there?
Oh no, I'm just on the Natalie train as everyone. Well, not everyone, but
I'm not on the Natalie train, but I am closer to the Natalie and Kelly train than I've ever been before.
Yeah,
because everyone
Kelly train since pregame.
Because that
been,
tribe is completely fucking awful.
Yeah, Jack has been the conductor of the Kelly train since pre-show.
All right.
I really enjoyed her moment today in tribal council when. I forget what the exact question was, but...
Something about bad energy? No.
Yeah, like there's bad energy on our side, but we might not all agree on who exactly that is. And it pans back to Drew.
No. he was oblivious. That guy.
And how great was it that production made the two of them sit right next to each other? I don't know. We haven't talked about the preview for next episode.
Oh, swap.
Okay, next episode shit gets crazy.
I don't like swaps personally, but but I don't know. I think it'll be a good change of dynamics. Although I wish Hunapu had gotten more focus because I just love them so much.
Well, I feel like they shouldn't have swapped this time just because it's so expected for there to be a swap. Like every once in a while, just don't fucking swap them.
No, I think it'll be exciting to see a new mix of players, especially in Blood versus Water, when we're likely gonna get a pair or two or maybe three, on one tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have the singles floating around. You'll have previous tribe, and the dynamics of it will be more interesting with the Blood versus Water. Are you going to stick with Blood or Water?
I hope once the swaps happen, things don't fall into really cookie cutter situations where singles have majority, so all the singles work together, or couples have majority, so they all work together.
Who brought that up? About
Jack?
About bringing this, getting one of the
John
singles.
did.
I thought that was smart.
Yeah, I think it's smart, but it's not as entertaining to watch.
Exactly.
TV.
We don't want to watch.
Right.
We don't want to watch. 3 couples just dominate the game.
This is an amazing race.
Exactly. All right, guys. So I want to I appreciate Patrick, Alicia, Stephen, and Jack coming on and joining me and discussing Survivor. It's always amazing, always fun. And I want to thank all you listeners out there. Bye.
Bye.